Imagine a world where emotions are just words, where empathy is a foreign language, and guilt is a concept you've only ever read about. What if some people, walking among us, experience life this way? What if they are utterly devoid of the feelings that bind the rest of humanity together? This isn't just a chilling thought experiment. It's the reality for individuals who possess traits of what we call psychopathy. In this deep dive, we're going to venture into one of the most mysterious and unsettling corners of the human mind, the mind of a psychopath. We'll explore why some people truly feel nothing, dissecting the science, the behavior, and the profound implications. By the end, you'll gain a deeper and perhaps unsettling understanding of this complex condition and the often invisible challenges it poses to society. When we hear the word psychopath, our minds often jump to serial killers and cinematic villains, but the reality is far more nuanced and far more common. Psychopathy isn't a diagnosis in the DSM-5, but rather a set of personality traits often associated with antisocial personality disorder, or ASPD. Yet, psychopathy is widely considered a more severe, distinct subtype. At its core, psychopathy is characterized by a profound and persistent lack of empathy, a shallow emotional range, grandiosity, manipulativeness, and a consistent disregard for rules and the rights of others. These individuals are often charming, intelligent, and incredibly persuasive, which allows them to blend seamlessly into society, sometimes even thriving in high-stakes environments. Crucially, it's not just about doing bad things. Many people with psychopathic traits are never violent. Instead, their impact is often insidious. Emotional manipulation, betrayal, exploitation, leaving a trail of broken relationships and damaged lives. The key differentiator is that profound absence of genuine emotional response, the very core of feeling nothing. So, why do some people feel nothing? The answer isn't purely psychological, it's rooted in neurology. Research shows that the brains of individuals with psychopathic traits are often wired differently, particularly in areas associated with emotion, empathy, and moral decision-making. One of the most significant findings points to abnormalities in the amygdala. This almond-shaped region deep within the brain is crucial for processing fear, recognizing emotions in others, and generating empathy. In psychopaths, the amygdala often shows reduced activity and a smaller volume. This means they literally do not process frightening or distressing stimuli in the same way. The fear response, that primal alarm bell, is significantly dulled or even absent. Then there's the ventromedial prefrontal cortex, or VMPFC. This area is vital for moral judgment, decision-making, and integrating emotion into rational thought. Studies using fMRI scans have shown reduced connectivity between the amygdala and the VMPFC in psychopaths. This essentially means there's a disconnect. The emotional red flags that might be triggered by the amygdala don't effectively communicate with the part of the brain responsible for moral reasoning. They simply don't get the same emotional feedback when contemplating harm or deceit. This isn't to say their brains are broken in a simplistic sense, but rather that the neurological foundations for empathy, guilt, and remorse are fundamentally altered. They can understand intellectually that an action is wrong, but they don't feel the moral weight of it. Is psychopathy something you're born with or something that develops through life experiences? The scientific consensus points to a complex interplay of both genetics and environment. There's strong evidence for a genetic predisposition. Studies of twins, for example, show a higher concordance rate for psychopathic traits in identical twins compared to fraternal twins. Researchers are identifying specific gene variations that may contribute to traits like low fear response and impulsivity. This suggests some individuals are born with a greater biological vulnerability. However, genetics are not destiny. Environmental factors play a crucial role. A child with a genetic predisposition might be protected by a loving, stable home environment. Conversely, a child with the same genetic risk, exposed to severe neglect, abuse, or trauma, is far more likely to develop pronounced psychopathic traits. Early childhood experiences, particularly the presence or absence of consistent nurturing care, profoundly shape brain development and emotional regulation. It's a tragic cycle. A biologically reduced capacity for empathy might make a child more resistant to traditional parenting, which can then exacerbate negative behaviors. It's not a simple case of nature or nurture, but a powerful, often destructive interaction between the two. Psychopathy is not a binary state. You're either a psychopath or you're not. It exists on a spectrum. Many individuals may possess some psychopathic traits, perhaps a degree of manipulativeness or reduced emotional response without meeting the full criteria. This is important because it broadens our understanding beyond just criminals. In fact, one of the most intriguing and concerning aspects is the concept of the successful psychopath. These individuals are often highly intelligent, charismatic, and goal-oriented. Their lack of empathy and fear can be an asset in certain environments, such as cutthroat corporate cultures, politics, or even certain military roles. They can make ruthless decisions without emotional baggage, manipulate situations to their advantage, and remain calm under extreme pressure. They might rise to positions of power, leaving a trail of exploited colleagues or ruined businesses, all while maintaining a veneer of respectability. Their success highlights that society itself can sometimes reward, or at least accommodate, traits that in other contexts would be considered highly destructive. They are the ones who feel nothing but operate with chilling effectiveness. For those who encounter individuals with psychopathic traits, the experience can be devastating. Because psychopaths are often masters of manipulation and deception, they can create intense emotional bonds, often called love bombing, only to discard people when they are no longer useful. Being in a relationship, whether romantic or professional, with someone lacking empathy means you are fundamentally interacting with a different operating system. Your emotional appeals, your pleas for understanding, your expressions of hurt, these resonate differently, if at all. For the person feeling nothing, these are simply data points to be analyzed, not emotional cues to be reciprocated. Recognizing the patterns is crucial. The grandiosity, the pathological lying, the lack of remorse, the superficial charm, the tendency to blame others, these are not simply character flaws. They are symptoms of a deep-seated psychological difference. Understanding this isn't about excusing behavior, but about protecting yourself and others from its profound impact. It allows you to shift from asking, "Why don't they care?" to understanding, "They are wired not to care in the way I expect." The journey inside the mind of a psychopath is a challenging one. It forces us to confront the uncomfortable truth that not all human beings are equipped with the same emotional landscape. For some, the internal world is a quiet, arid place, devoid of the complex feelings that drive most of our morality and connection. This understanding is vital not for condemnation, but for clarity. It helps us navigate a complex world, understand the true nature of certain destructive behaviors, and most importantly, protect our own emotional well-being. By exploring these darker corners of human psychology, we gain a more profound appreciation for the empathy and connection that defines our own humanity. If this deep dive into psychopathy resonated with you, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to Clarity Hub for more explorations into the human mind. And I want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on the nature versus nurture debate when it comes to psychopathy? Share your insights and questions in the comments below.